Alrighty, people. We
Yeah.
have a fantastic stream for you today. Monday Night Football, a doubleheader. Not gonna lie, I have typically really hated these doubleheaders, but last week was actually kind of fun. Maybe that's just because Jaden Daniels was playing, so maybe that's not a good indication. But definitely the Lions Seahawks game is exciting to think about. I am starting Jackson Smith and Jigba in the Flock League. And I think I'm going to start him over Tyreek Hill tonight. I already got the matchup in the bag anyway, so it's not like I'm risking too much. You got anything in play tonight in the Flock League?
Yeah, playing Corey. He has Devon the Chain, and he has the Miami Dolphins defense, and I have Calvin Ridley left. I'm already up by like 20 points.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a doable win for Corey.
Yeah.
I just need.
You got to hope Calvin does something.
Yeah, I can't have a goose egg, which I'm hoping that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Like, give me 8 points. I'm happy with that because I think the Titans are going to score, and Devon hopefully doesn't have a career game. So we'll see if that's going to be okay.
Yeah, love it. All right, well, whatever you guys need to happen tonight, we hope it happens for you. Do us a favor as the stream begins and go ahead and hit that like button to show some love. Let me make sure I've got my headphones going. Okay, cool. We are going to be answering questions all the way up until kickoff. Last thing I would say is we should just give a quick update on the injuries that have happened as of recent. And there's been some optimism around Rashee Rice. Let me try and find that optimism. I don't think we actually had it on Underdog yet. But
I'm so interested in the optimism. Like, it's either a torn ACL or not a torn ACL. So, like, if it's... And I'm pretty... What's confusing is, like, I'm pretty sure by now he had the MRI. And they're saying, oh, like...
Yeah.
Is it torn or not torn? Like, it doesn't make any sense why there's optimism now.
I can't remember many times a team has not, like, the next day been like, yeah, this is the situation. So it is interesting. This is a direct quote from Adam Schefter. Here's what we know right now. We do know that Rashee Rice is going to miss an extended period of time. We do not know yet if that ACL is torn. He's continued to go through testing, and there has not been confirmation that it is torn, as the Chiefs feared in the post-game locker room after they beat the Chargers. Again, it's going to be a bad knee injury, but they are hoping that it's not as bad as they feared. He's still going through the testing, so we'll have to wait and see.
I don't understand how to not know it was torn. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Normally, they do the MRI and they can see it. Brian is saying in the chat sometimes you need to do a small surgery to go in to see if it's torn. So, like, I've never heard that before. Like, ever since football. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. I'm not smart enough to. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not qualified.
I guess when the reason why I'm like so. The reason why I'm so surprised is because every single time somebody says, "Oh man, it's a torn ACL," it's most likely a torn ACL, or they come back and say, "You know what? It's just really bad sprain on like all the other ligaments there."
Yeah.
I want the hope, but like I feel like they're gonna give us hope and then just shoot us down. Confirmed.
Yeah.
ACL.
Time will tell. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's better than just being like he's out. I mean, at least there is some sort of optimism. What I found really strange, and we won't spend too much time on this. What I found really strange, Badaki, is the amount of people who were excited that he was injured. Like, that was, I don't know. To me, it was really off-putting. I understand he has this whole legal situation. And people are using, like, his legal situation as a means to justify him being injured himself, which, to me, is so strange. They're saying, well, he shouldn't be playing anyway. You know, what about the victims of his car crash? As if the legal process he has any control over. And he doesn't. Like, he's going to go through the legal process. He can't control the way the NFL handles it. And clearly he has a lawyer who is, you know, putting it towards the end of the season. So it's not like he's getting off scot-free for that situation, and people are using it as, like, the karma thing. I just find it so distasteful, personally. But obviously, I really like Rashee Rice. I just feel like it's weird. It's weird to me. Am I the only one who feels that way? That's like, you're seeing people, like, excited that he's injured. I think
a lot of people, I mean, not outside of the situation, has done that in the past.
I don't feel like I've ever remembered someone, like, people victory lapping an injury so hard.
Some people do victory lap injuries if they're for like a take, like for fantasy takes. Like you shouldn't draft this guy.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I've never seen like such widespread like excitement from people, or like, yeah, he deserved this. Just weird. Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is an interesting update. I can't tell you where it's going to lead. Now, as far as tonight, Raheem Mostert won't play. Anthony Richardson is considered day-to-day with a strained oblique and abdominal injury. Christian Watson, the reports on Watson are really confusing. LaFleur said he's likely to miss at least a week, which tells us nothing, really, if we're honest. At least a week, because beforehand, there was a report that said he could be placed on IR.
Yep, and now LaFleur is saying he's going to miss at least a week. So it's either not as bad as we thought, or he doesn't.
Or that's just coach speak for I don't really know.
Yeah, or he's just talking shit out his ass, and he has, exactly, no idea what's going to be happening. Or at the time, at the time, he didn't know how bad it was, and now he knows after testing.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and get some more information on that as well. Alexander Madison's going to earn more reps, so as if Zamir White wasn't dead enough already.
Come on, baby.
It's happening.
I got Alexander Madison in the flock.
Yeah, I love it. Nick Chubb's coming back, which is exciting if you've got big old Chubby. Now, he has 21 days to come back. And just so you guys are aware of the situation, if he doesn't return, basically, he has to return in the next 3 weeks to play, or he's put on season-ending IR. Okay, so that's basically how it works. So he will either return in the next 3 weeks, or he won't play again this year, which to me says he's going to return in the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, they wouldn't have activated him.
Yeah.
So that's all really interesting to note. All right, we are going to answer super chats. We're going to answer as many questions as we can. Do us a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. We got a like goal today of 50 likes. With your help, I know we can get there. If you want to ask a question and you plan on super chatting, why don't you go ahead and try to use our website? It's actually a better experience for you guys. Visually, you're able to explain your team and your situation a lot better than on a super chat anyway. So you can see an example here. We'll start with this question on the website. The other thing is, if you haven't signed up yet, you can get a free account by using the promo code LAND, and you get free access to expert consensus rankings, to our trade calculator. There are so many free features that you can get just by signing up with the promo code LAND with a free account. You get a 7-day free trial. You get all the articles out there. You get rankings. You get the My Teams analyzer, where you can analyze your league, which is a really cool feature that we offer as well. You can see where you rank. You got the trade finder, the trade calculator. A lot of these things are free for you, and you get to have the expert consensus rankings. Now, if you want specific creator rankings, you'll have to get a membership, but so many free tools for you. So use the promo code LAND if you haven't signed up. Check out the direct link I sent in the chat. It's also the pinned comment. If you're planning on doing a super chat, there's no pressure, but try out the website. It's a better experience for you, and in full transparency, YouTube doesn't take 30% of your donation away from us anyway. So let's start off with Travis's question here, and then we'll get to super chats and the regular questions. But Travis says he's 3-0, and he's now down Pacheco and Rice. He says trade Godwin or Nico for Brown, and for which of these running backs? RB1 is Bijan. So trade Godwin or Nico for Brown. I mean, first off, I still prefer A.J. Brown rest of season. I love Chris Godwin. I have him in the flock league. I'm excited to see what he's done. But I still think you win this just by getting A.J. Brown, no?
Yeah, exactly. I want A.J. Brown regardless. And then if you need another running back because your running back is injured, and getting a Zach Moss, I think getting any running back, well, not any running back, but I see this other team has DeAndre Swift as well. I know he just had a decent game. Jahmyr Gibbs, which I doubt you can get just for Chris Godwin. I would be happy with either Zach Moss or DeAndre Swift just to get another guy, another depth piece on your team. I'm probably not going to win your week, but at least you have that depth.
After DeAndre Swift's performance on Sunday, would you rather have him or Zach Moss rest of season?
It's interesting because DeAndre Swift, once again, if you know me, I I'm a big Chase Brown believer in how he is going to be at some point taking over this backfield. I'm not saying we saw that this week. I think it was a pretty fair split down the middle. And
there's definitely a lot more involvement for Chase. We don't know if that's a game plan because
we don't know that's
they wanted to attack them on the ground, but
I would say this: like, we've seen more consistency from Zach Moss, so I would rather have him. He's on the quote unquote better offense as well. So give me Zach Moss over Swift at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, don't send Nico Collins away. Do this deal by using Chris Godwin. Do not trade away Nico Collins. As much as I hate to admit it, he's like a top 5 wide receiver rest of season. I mean, he's leading the league in receiving yards. He looks like an absolute superstar. And
would you rather have Nico Collins or AJ Brown?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer. But AJ Brown and Zach Moss, we would take that side for sure. And then I would even do it if you got Swift instead of Moss. Like if that's something that he has to, like if that's where you have to settle, don't use Collins. I do not think you can get Jahmyr Gibbs, but if you can get Gibbs and AJ Brown, of course, do that. In fact, if you can get Gibbs and AJ Brown, I would do that for Nico Collins if he had to do that as well. But overall, we are very excited about the AJ Brown side, so we'll label that the winner. Again, guys, if you want to ask a question and you plan on super chatting, go ahead and check out the website. Free membership for 7 days. When you use the promo code LAND, you also get access to creator rankings. You get access to a lot of the website for free, the trade calculator, the trade finder. So check that out. But you can also super chat. And then we'll get to the regular questions as well as the stream goes. But what's the first super chat we have here, Badaki?
Yeah, we do have a super chat from Sir Yeti Jaden Daniels. He's changed his name to Benson Sinat, and now Jaden Daniels. You love to see it. JD5 is my savior now. Hey, I think he's a lot of people's saviors, but we appreciate that super chat. I know Zach would appreciate that as well.
I have not had this much fun watching Washington football since RG3's rookie year. And, you know, I had a lot of takes in the offseason where we were talking about this rookie class, and I kept saying, I would not be surprised if Jaden Daniels is the most valuable player in this class. It feels like we're leaning towards that. It's either him or Malik Neighbors at this point.
It's Malik. Come on, baby.
And
it's in the NFC East. That's all that matters.
I don't have any Caleb Williams because every time I had the 101, I would trade back inside that top 4 and settle for like a future first in Daniels or a future first in Neighbors or something. So it's awesome to see for Dynasty because I have so much stock of Daniels and Neighbors. But it's also incredible to see just as a fan. It's great to see for Terry McLaurin as well. I mean, they're really starting to figure things out. And it's never been this fun to watch Washington football in my lifetime, I'd say. Emmanuel sauced up with a donation here. I appreciate you, man. He says, trade McBride for Chubb, Bucky Irving, and Laporta. Trade Trey McBride for Nick Chubb, Bucky Irving, and Laporta.
No, and the reason I'm saying no is because not that I don't believe in Nick Chubb. Let's just say he does come back. What's his upside? A guy that hasn't been hit in over a year, a guy that hasn't, had that day-to-day game reps in over a year. I know we like the thought process of Nick Chubb, and Bucky Irving is making his statement in the league currently right now in that backfield. And I can see that you might need another running back. You have Bijan and Walker, and your bench has Braylon. But I still believe maybe McBride is who I want. But I would say that, like, Laporta for McBride is an even swap. So if you did want the value in Bucky, just on another guy
that's where I go here. I don't understand why you wouldn't take the trade personally. I view Laporta and McBride in a very similar tier rest of season. So I view this as a free ticket for Nick Chubb and Bucky Irving. I don't see why you wouldn't accept the trade.
Yeah.
So we're on opposite sides there.
Well, I was kind of getting to that point. I would say, like, Nick Chubb is not somebody I would want. Like, if you can get this trade done and not include Nick Chubb, in my opinion, I would rather have somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else would be off the top of my head, but not somebody that's I believe is gonna struggle to come back and produce for you on a week-to-week basis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I would go.
Yeah, I definitely disagree. I like the trade for you, but that's okay. That's why you come and you get two different sides, two different opinions. I don't see why you wouldn't accept the trade, like I said. But Nick Chubb, I mean, I have no doubts that he will be their number one running back when he's like 2-3 weeks after he's come back. So I think there is a lot of value there. I do disagree, and Bucky, I think we've been saying this could take over that job in Tampa Bay. So I see it as a free scratcher on both those names for an equivalent valued player. Shane with the next super chat, he says trade Kamara, Garrett Wilson for Breece Hall and Reed. Got to say this now before we continue the stream. If you are spamming your question in the chat, that is a surefire way not to get it answered. All right. So let's just say that from the beginning here. If you're spamming your question in the chat, we'll probably put you in timeout. I mean, we appreciate you. We're glad you're here. All right. But it's only going to make us want to answer it less, and it's going to make everybody else's questions more difficult to get to. Okay. All right, we're going to go in order. We'll try to get to everybody. But the first super chat here from Shane, who says, trade Kamara and Garrett for Breece and Reed. What do you think here? That's Jaden Reed, I assume.
Trade Kamara and Garrett for Breece and Reed.
Would you rather? I mean, I think Kamara is hard to let go of, to be honest.
It's hard to let go. It's hard because you're getting... Right now, this trade is hard to evaluate just because I just don't know what Garrett Wilson is going to be long term. It feels like right now, we drafted Garrett Wilson in the first, and he just hasn't produced what we wanted from him. He hasn't had a game over 15 points, which honestly feels a little bit underwhelming.
Well, I talked about this on yesterday's stream after I melted down around Rashee Rice. It's not been good. There's clearly not the chemistry you wanted. This is clearly not like a Devontae Adams mind meld where all the targets are going to funnel straight to him and, they're on the same page. I mean, Allen Lazard is getting opportunities really consistently. I mean, right now he's the wide receiver 16 on the year, which is so silly to think about. And if you look at their upcoming schedule for Garrett Wilson, I don't know exactly when it gets better. I mean, Minnesota is technically not a bad matchup. So he's got Minnesota. But after that, it's Buffalo, then Pittsburgh, then New England, which he was already shut down. I mean, he had that touchdown, but that saved his week. Houston, and then is Arizona and the Indianapolis in week 10 and 11 the first matchup you want to target with him?
Yeah.
I think we need to adjust our expectations for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, we do. And... yeah, I mean, you're currently giving up the RB1, and you're also getting in return a top 5 running wide receiver if you were to be getting Jaden Reed.
Here's the tough part. I think I want Jaden Reed over Garrett Wilson rest of season, but I don't want to lose Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara, exactly, and I think you're gaining a really positional value, but also losing, upside in where I don't know if that makes any sense, but doesn't feel like it's an even trade, but technically it is. If that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah, really tough one. I think I prefer the Alvin Kamara side of that deal. All right, next super chat here is from Bruce. Appreciate the donation, my man. He says, what do you think of these stacks? Full PPR, Packers, Wicks, Reed and Kraft, or Colts, Pittman, and Downs? I'd rather have Reed and Kraft.
Yeah,
if I could choose, because Jaden Reed is by far the most valuable name of the names you mentioned. Now, here's the deal with the Colts wide receivers. If Joe Flacco plays this week, they're incredible starts. If it's Anthony Richardson, I'm not sure I feel any confidence to play them. And I don't think that changes until Joe Flacco's a starter, or if he's not the starter, what do you do?
If you had any Colts players, and if you drafted Michael Pittman or Jonathan Taylor or whoever, you kind of wanted Anthony Richardson to miss a couple of weeks just for fantasy's sake, but it doesn't look like he is going to miss maybe next week. He's currently day-to-day, so he might play next week. But anyways, yes, I'll go with the Packers side.
Did you realize that the Dolphins-Titans starts at 9:30? I didn't know that. They're 45 minutes apart. The games are. I didn't realize that. Anyway.
Waffle House. How you doing,
yeah,
brother?
Waffle Houser. Been a great supporter of the show, always donating, showing up. Appreciate you, man. He says, I love Rice. We didn't deserve this huge KC loss. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. That's a tough
Again,
one.
I don't want to keep talking about it. I was just like shocked by the amount of people who were excited about his injury. I get that sometimes you have people in the industry who like victory lap, like that one guy who's just always victory lapping every injury, which is cringe. But I found it so weird that people were like equating he did something bad off the field, so his injury, he should be injured. This is what he deserves. It's like, damn, that's a weird way to view life. But
yeah, honestly.
I love him too, and it's a little rough. Logan, go ahead.
Traded Mahomes, Brian Robinson for Lamar, Addison, and Ayuk.
Wait, no, that's two different trades. I think he says traded Mahomes and Brian Robinson for Lamar and Addison. That's one trade.
And then what's the for Ayuk for?
I don't know. Oh, wait, traded Mahomes, Brian Robinson for Lamar and Addison for Ayuk? Wait, are you saying this is a three-way trade?
Maybe. It says team is Lamar, Mixon, Connor, Chase, Wilson, Laporta, Ayuk.
Well, no, if he got Lamar then, right? I mean,
he got Lamar and he also has Ayuk. Well, he doesn't say he has Addison in that trade.
Okay.
Like on his team, excuse me. On his team.
If you're telling me Lamar, Addison, and Ayuk is an option as like a side, I would take that side for sure.
Exactly.
But if they're two separate trades, I'm trying to understand how. Okay, so you traded Mahomes and B-Rob for Lamar and Addison.
Or it's just.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, hold on. The comma is important here. Traded Mahomes, Brian Robinson for Lamar. Point blank. Period. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
And then Addison for Ayuk. So I don't like the B-Rob trade that much. I think he's a really good option rest of season. Keeping in mind that I don't think people are realizing how good Washington's offense is, how many scoring opportunities Brian Robinson will have. I mean, he's got to be like a top 15 name rest of season. So I don't love the idea of giving up a running back that valuable to do a quarterback swap. But moving from Addison to Ayuk, I really love that.
It's great.
That deal. I think that's a great buy low on Ayuk, who should be much better.
Completely agree.
Sorry, we're not that
we're
smart.
Slow. And it's 9:00 in the morning, so we kind of just woke up. Bob France, we appreciate you. He said traded Connor and Worthy for Bijan. Thoughts rest of season.
I like that.
Yeah, give me Bijan Mustardson.
Yeah, Bijan's really interesting because he only has one touchdown through 4 weeks, but he's still been pretty decent. What was weird was the way they used Tyler Algier last week. It was like, wait, is Arthur Smith back in town? What's happening right now? I
think he just had the hotter hand. If I was watching that game and every time Bijan went, even though he still had 4 yards per carry, Tyler Algier was breaking bigger plays. He was getting a first down for almost every run. So I think it was just a hotter hand type play, which is annoying.
No, that it is annoying, but I definitely get where you're coming from there. I don't know. It's like it feels like Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson have been pretty disappointing if you drafted them. Bijan for sure, not so much Breece, but now that Braylon Allen is quite frankly outplaying him, that's a little annoying. Yeah.
That's another reason why it's tough to trade for Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson. There's reasons for both of those guys. Daniel, thank you so much. He said, should I trade Addison for Brian? Trade Addison or Thomas for Dobbins? No, I would want Addison and Thomas over Dobbins long term.
Well, I do
personally.
I definitely get where you're coming from. I think it's a fair trade if you're looking for a running back, because right now J.K. Dobbins is on a bye, and remember, guys, we were the entire week after week 2 heading into week 3, we said this is probably a time to trade away J.K. Dobbins. And why were we focused on that? Because of his upcoming schedule. He had Pittsburgh in week 3, and then he had Kansas City in week 4. And the feeling from us was this is a good time to trade him high as he's the RB4 through 2 weeks. But then we said if he does underperform, but he's still getting the volume. He will be a great buy after that because then he gets Denver and Arizona. So I actually do think he's a good buy. He's clearly their guy, which is good to see. He just had two defenses that were really tough to face off. And I would say like Addison and Dobbins feels pretty even straight up. I love Jordan Addison, but if you need to go out and get a running back, I'd send him away for a Dobbins.
For Dobbins, okay. I guess I'm hoping maybe I'm misjudging Dobbins' value in my opinion, but like maybe. For me, I was hoping for a little bit more if I'm going to be getting a running back. Like, let me just try and pull up some rest of season stuff really quick. Like, I feel like you can get a Tony Pollard for Jordan Addison. I would rather have him. Would you not?
You can do that though.
Right.
I mean, people are going to see that he had 4 targets, and they're going to be like, "All right, he's clearly not the number one."
I guess he's currently on like the. I mean, I think we always knew he was number one, but he also is like on one of the best offenses right now in the NFL. So,
but J.K. Dobbins is on one of the highest volume rushing offenses in the NFL,
right?
Behind an incredible offensive line. I mean, I think I'd have Dobbins over Addison rest of season, but I'd say it's
good
pretty
to know.
even.
Good to know. As I said, maybe I'm not valuing him, J.K. Dobbins specifically.
I think it's important. It's just important to note that we kind of predicted this, and now we shouldn't adjust expectations because it came true.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Michael. I just saw that message. You were
he had
next
a super
with the
chat,
super
but then
chat.
he
just retracted it. Let us know if maybe you're gonna retype it or there's gonna be more details you're gonna put.
By the way,
chat,
if you guys do plan to donate, first off, that's very kind. Second off, we'd encourage you to use our website. I got the link there in the pinned comment. If you don't have a free account yet, use the promo code LAND. That'll give you access to free consensus expert rankings, the trade calculator, the team analyzer, and of course, with that link, you can ask us a question. And YouTube doesn't take 30% of your donation away from us. Appreciate you guys for all these donations. Chilled Mind is the next one. We'll wait on Michael's question here. And Chilled Mind says, my team is Jaden, Kyron, Najee, Hall, Brooks, Garrett Wilson, Neighbors, Moore, Flowers. Any suggestions who to start next week in a 10-man? Well, I think the difficult part, Chilled Mind, is we don't know how many starters you have, brother. Right? So, right, we don't know how many players you can start. Does that make sense? So, are you in a start 7 league where it's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 1 flex? Do you have 2 flexes? Do you have 3 flexes? But I'd start Jaden Daniels, obviously. I would not sit Kyron Williams or Breece Hall. I'd start both of those names. So that he says it's a start 7. So that's already 3. At wide receiver, I'm probably starting Garrett Wilson still and Neighbors. And then I'm probably flexing DJ Moore.
Yeah. Is it DJ Moore? No, Brian Moore, right? Sorry, yeah, Moore. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I would go as well.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that super chat.
Black Jesus is in the chat.
We're in his presence here.
Come on.
And we appreciate you for everything that you're doing. Would you trade Mahomes and
Godwin? Thanks for everything you do for the community.
Specifically the Black community.
Come on.
Would you trade Mahomes and Godwin for Baker and AJ Brown?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I feel like Baker and Mahomes, you couldn't convince me that Mahomes is absolutely going to outscore Baker Mayfield rest of season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm there with you. Give me Baker and AJ Brown. Thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah. Jan.
Hey.
How you doing? McBride and Jacobs for Kenneth Walker and Debo. Thoughts? I would want Josh Jacobs over Kenneth Walker. McBride for Debo. I feel like with the tight end landscape, I feel like no one should be trading away a tight end that at least has produced in the first 4 weeks of the season.
I'd be curious who your tight end, Jan, would be if you lost McBride.
Yeah.
That's what I would want to know.
Like if you're telling me for some reason you have McBride and Jake Ferguson, sure. If you're telling me you have McBride and Kyle Pitts,
I don't want to rely on that, dude.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm going to keep the McBride side of this. I think you could make an argument if tight ends were producing normally that Debo would be more valuable than McBride. But at this point, it is so hard to find a tight end, dude. I mean, I do not want to start Komet or just dive into the waiver wire each week. I'd rather have a name like Trey McBride. So I'm going to keep that side.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say is I would have Kenneth Walker over Jacobs rest of the season. So that was really enticing to me to think about there for a second. I am really not loving the way that they're using Josh Jacobs in Green Bay. It's not exciting at all.
I think, sure, like the first 2 weeks, weeks 2 and 3, it was Malik Willis, so he was getting all the workload, couldn't punch it in. And then last week they were just down, or in week 3, this week technically, they were just down really early. So like that's kind of, they resulted to not running the ball. But I think if they are up early and often, I think Josh Jacobs could easily finish higher any given week.
I think he could. My concern is if they're doing this with Emmanuel Wilson, what happens when Marshawn Lloyd is healthy? If he can be healthy, it's just I do think his upside is a little bit capped in Green Bay, which is sad to see. Wayne Black, I appreciate you. This is your first donation on the stream. He says, should I trade Jaden Reed and Mostert for Bijan and Leggett? My other running backs are CMC, Madison, P. Ryan, Hill, and Keaton Mitchell.
Wow.
Jaden Reed and Mostert for Bijan and Leggett. I mean, Bijan's... I love Reed, but I still think Bijan is the most valuable player there. I think I'm taking the Bijan side of this, especially you look at his running back room. That's
looking at your running back. Yeah, it is tough. I'm not saying this a trade I'm not going to take, but I would like to try this first, which I doubt you can get it done. Like, is there a way the Alvin Kamara guy wants to move off him? Saquon Barkley you could probably get, who's going on a bye week this week. Maybe somebody wants to trade for Jaden Reed. But yes, I'm happy to take the Bijan side. Not saying Bijan's bad, just saying, can I get the RB1 or RB2 currently that's in the NFL?
Yeah. Understandable.
Yes. Thank you, Wayne.
Nino, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the donation. Trade Cup, Higgins, Brooks for Justin Jefferson, Jameson Williams, and Swift. I'm keeping the... I think Look, Cup is... In my opinion, when Cooper Kupp is back, he's a top 3 wide receiver rest of the season. You can make the case Jefferson already is.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I was about to say. I was like,
pretty much a dead even trade.
Jefferson's already there. It does feel like an even trade, and I just think that if you need wins now, Nino, or maybe you're just trying to solidify and not worry about Kupp and his injury, just give me Justin Jefferson and J-Mo, who could have, which again, we haven't seen what he's done so far this week. So maybe he has a boom game, and that person's not going to want to trade him for T. Higgins, who, had 12 targets or 10 targets, but only scored 12 points. Once again, still underwhelming in my opinion. So yes, I'll take the Justin Jefferson side.
Yeah.
Michael, I think he just donated. Thank you so much. He said trade away Najee and Chubb for Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
I would say I would do that since I need elite/reliable running back in this league.
I wouldn't call Brian Robinson elite, but I think I would be very comfortable starting him on a week-to-week basis, almost regardless of matchup now. I mean, how can we not be excited about this guy in this offense? You know, RB10 so far, has scored a touchdown in every week except for week 2. His offense isn't punting.
You guys didn't punt last week still? Or this week?
They punted one time.
Okay,
They've had one punt in 3 weeks, which is insane.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, excuse me. All right. Joey Castles, how you doing, my brother? He says Brian Thomas is a must start every week. I don't think he's a must start every week personally. I know he had a decent game, but yes, I think I think
he's on the edge of that, to be honest. I really do. I mean, 9 targets in back-to-back weeks, that's no longer a fluke. That's something that I look at and say, okay, they're going to be very intentional on trying to get him the ball. When I look at my rankings for this week, I've got Brian Thomas ranked as my wide receiver 26. That feels like on the edge of must start. I mean, if you think about, there's a lot of buys this week. We have to keep that in mind. The Lions, the Chargers, who else?
The
Eagles, Titans.
Titans, yeah.
I think he's definitely closing in on that. And this matchup in week 5 is very good versus the Colts. So I think he's getting very close. I mean, would you rather start Zay Flowers this week, who had 2 targets, or Brian Thomas, who is 9 targets in back-to-back weeks versus the Colts?
Yeah, I agree. Give me Brian Thomas. I think it just depends on who you have, Joey or Joe. The second part of that, what we do with Stevenson. I mean, my guy keeps fumbling the ball and he's losing opportunities and is not doing what he wants. To be fair, it was against San Francisco, who technically does have a tough defense. But
that was rough, dude. I mean, like I said, they invited the plague into their locker room in Antonio Gibson, and now the guy can't hold onto the ball for some reason. I mean, you're telling me there's no correlation? Obviously, that's a joke. But if he continues to fumble, he's going to lose his job. What if he already has? Here's what I'll say. If he doesn't do well versus Miami with no Tua tags, it is officially time to hit the panic button. If you own Ramondre Stevenson, I think in your ideal world, he does well versus Miami in week 5, and then you have a trade window that you can hopefully take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on how they perform this week. Like, if Tyler Huntley is the answer, then maybe they can be competitive. BS. And Jaden Reed is a must start every week if Jordan Love is playing. So don't overthink that. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, but we appreciate you. Thank you so much. He says, have Rice, Adams, Neighbors, Achane, Paul as starters, Romdell, Jamo, Allen, Bucky, backups. Thoughts on trading half for a package for running back / wide receivers? If so, who? Also have Fields, Love, quarterback, and Kittle as tight end.
You've been really unlucky with injuries with Hill there and Rice and Adams.
Just feel like you can't trade any of those 3 guys you just named.
Well, he's thinking about trading Breece Hall, which you could trade.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is, what's your league? Is it a 10-man start 7? What's the format here? Are we in a 12-team start 9? That would change things. He says also have Fields, Love, and Kittle as tight end. That's honestly not a bad team. Like, you're probably not going to have Rice anymore, which sucks. I feel you on that. But Adams, Neighbors is not a bad wide receiver room. It's a 12-team start 7 is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to trade Breece Hall in that scenario, but if you were to trade Breece Hall, I don't think I really want to. But if you were to do it, could you get back like a Aaron Jones plus a great wide receiver? Could you get back a Brian Robinson, Montgomery, Kenneth Walker, and a really good wide receiver back, a Joe Mixon who's coming off an injury? And when I'm talking about wide receiver, I mean names like Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, who's coming back from an injury soon, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, if that's possible, Ayuk. Outside of that, I think I'm probably just holding him if I don't get value like that.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the value that you can get. I would say start off by setting 2-for-1s for good players, and then seeing what people are going to get in return. But if not, I don't think I would be forcing anything. Tank Dell's going to come back. I think Neighbors is going to be fine coming into this week. I think Adams is also going to be fine. He might even be a trade candidate to another team. And Rice, I think there's probably a downfall at the moment, but there could be hope. There could be hope. And if it's a 1-quarterback league and not Superflex, which it's a 12-man team, a 12-man league, see what you can get for Justin Fields. It's probably not going to be anything.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just see what you can get out there. I mean, if somebody has a Deshaun Watson or Anthony Richardson.
You said A.J. Brown and Pollard, Jacobs and Marvin type trades. I was thinking, yeah, if you can do that, definitely. If you can get A.J. Brown and Pollard, A.J. Brown and Jacobs, totally. I think there's not much risk in doing that type of deal. In fact, when A.J. Brown's back, you probably prefer him over Brees rest of season. Anyway, if you were doing like a draft, restarting your draft from scratch. Those are all the super chats that we have right now. So let's go ahead and start answering some of the normal questions. We'll start from the top. Mr. Green's the first one I can see. Oh, there is one above that. It's from Big Cess, who says Kyler Murray's trash. He quit on his team. I saw this guy comment this on like 4 different videos. Yeah, not a good game for him. Mr. Green says Kyler and DJ Moore for A-Rich and H-N, full PPR, super flex. I have Jaden Daniels as my quarterback 1.
No, I don't want Anthony Richardson.
I mean, A-Chan's a huge upgrade over DJ, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. Superflex have Jane Daniels as QB1.
If you could also guarantee Joe Flacco on your roster, I would take the A-Chan side.
Yeah.
But if Joe Flacco's already rostered, I would keep Kyler. I just think A-Chan is a huge upgrade over DJ, so I'd be willing to make the move.
Yeah, I would just say you need to trade those quarterbacks away. And keep one of the guys. We did get a super chat. Thank you so much
just quickly.
for that.
Do we drop Keon or Shaheed in Dynasty for Wicks? Dynasty, I don't think so.
No, you have to keep. I mean, I think Shaheed, you can. Nah, I don't think you could drop
Shaheed.
Great
right now, yeah.
I don't think you can drop Shaheed for Wicks.
No, you can't drop those players, but I would be. It's kind of shocking that Wicks is available on the waiver wire in a Dynasty league, but you can't drop those names.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I think this might be the last 2 super chats because the game is about to kick off here. We really appreciate you, Santo. Just have Burrow, Bijan, Kenneth Walker, DJ, Kincaid, bench, Rice, Cup, Downs. Okay, would you downgrade on running back to get wide receiver 1 or wait for Cup 3 and 1? I think you can wait for Cup. The fact that you're 3 and 1, it's okay. T. Higgins just came back. I know actually Rice. He lost Rice too.
Well, yeah, your only wide receivers now are
T. Higgins and
DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I think I'd still wait for Cup though.
I would still wait for Cup, yeah, because
you are 3-1. You've got that cushion, and I think Cup is going to be a superstar when he's back.
And if you're in a smaller league here, if this is a star 10. Maybe Wicks is available. Maybe Darnell Mooney is available on the waiver wires. Maybe Wan'Dale Robinson is available on the waiver wires. So go pick up one of those guys instead of trading away your superstar running backs. And Jan, thank you so much. He says, thank you for the content, guys. Best fantasy content out there. We really appreciate you, Jan. Thank you so much for the support. He said, will you consider holding Collins in a 1-keeper league? Love from Switzerland.
Yeah, I mean, in a keeper league, I would really struggle to trade Collins.
Yeah.
Even agree. In a dynasty or a redraft league that doesn't have keepers, I'd find it difficult to move Nico Collins off my team right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if we redid drafts, he's a first-round pick, locked and loaded. What, the 106 to the 110
I think if people knew what happened, like I think people would take him over 106 to 110. Yeah. I mean, right now, if you're drafting, you're taking him over the running backs in Brees and Paul.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I 100% agree.
It says love from Switzerland, by the way, which is incredible. I love that. Yeah. We've got a bunch of internationals. But that's it, guys. Obviously, the game's just started. Good luck. We've got running back, wide receiver start sits that will come out tomorrow. Check out the waiver wire video that's out there. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, love.